Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGamersHead.com video, let's discuss Skylake shortages, shall we? That's right, it has been confirmed by both Intel and ASUS that there are indeed major shortages of Intel's latest processor, which of course at the moment is the unlocked lineup, the 66 and the 6700K respectively. Now, in September we're going to produce a lot more Skylake products, but we expect significant shortages of Skylake globally, not just for ASUS. This is actually by the CEO of ASUS, Jerry Shen. That is why in August we have Windows 10, but Skylake only accounts for a small percentage. In the fourth quarter, Skylake will take a higher percentage. Obviously they're talking about their sales and their share of the market, but it's in significant shortage right now in the third quarter. And an Intel spokesperson, his name would be Daniel Snyder, said, and I quote, "We are experiencing supply tightness due to, quote, strong demand and expect additional volume to be available as Q3 progresses." Unfortunately, there's not that much more information in terms of the actual causality behind all of this, but it is being rather bad for consumers, to say the least. Just for example, in the United Kingdom, and I'm sure that, you know, if you're in the States or Canada or what have you, then you'll definitely be able to probably sympathize with this. The retailers have put on a significant markup over what, you know, the recommended retail price would be. In the United Kingdom, you can enjoy paying up to 50 to 60 Great British pounds more than the RRP. And this is true whether you're dealing with the 66 or the 6700K, but definitely the 6700K is getting hit even harder and taking it well over £300. It's in some cases 330, 340-ish Great British pounds, which is quite ridiculous. And the motherboard prices are still reasonable. This is one of the reasons at the moment that a lot of people are just not willing to upgrade, or they're going with like the 5820K, which is still a pretty good alternative. There are multiple reasons that we could assume behind this. The first is that, quite simply, Intel are not able to produce as many CPUs as what they'd hoped. Perhaps they just simply are pushing the process to their absolute limits. Perhaps they're having yield issues. Perhaps they just didn't even think that it was going to sell as well as it did, so they didn't actually produce the numbers. Another problem is it could be that people just want the damn processor, and therefore the second it comes into store shelves, it's just literally flying out. Another option, and certainly a good possibility, is, yeah, it could be combined with yield issues, but it takes a while to actually ship the stuff. It's not really done via aircraft. It's usually by an actual physical ship, as far as my understanding goes. So let's just be blunt here. A ship that's carrying all of that stuff could take, you know, a couple of weeks, depending obviously where it's coming from, but generally it's from Taiwan. So if it's going to the United States or Europe, it could be like a month in some cases for this thing to actually make the voyage. So if that is to happen, there are possibilities, and let's just be honest here, very good possibilities, that they're just simply having shipping problems. It's kind of an interesting point though, because Intel's Skylake has a lot of cost-saving measures. Now, some have criticised the fact that you don't actually get a stock heatsink fan with Skylake, and I'm actually okay with that in theory, because while it would be nice, I think the 6600 and 6700K anyway, let's be honest, if you're buying a K, generally speaking, you're buying it because you can overclock it, right? I mean, that's generally the theory. I mean, theoretically, I guess right now, you could argue that the Ks are the only versions that are available, so even if you just bought the system with the intention of keeping it stock for the rest of its life, say 2 or 3 years, you know, I guess there is that possibility, but generally speaking, Ks traditionally are bought by those who are enthusiasts and wanting to overclock, and therefore most of the time the retail cooler quite literally just sits in the box or maybe thrown into a drawer somewhere, and you buy something else like from Cooler Master or whatever, Corsair, and you stick that sucker in instead, and then obviously you've got much better cooling than the, I guess, flimsy stock heatsink can provide. All of it really is down to making it look quite sexy, and if you were to compare, let's say, Skylake packages with even, say, Haswell, there is a considerable difference in terms of the aesthetic. It's definitely become a lot more gamey, and with the cost-cutting methods as well, which is another reason I think people are pissed with the inflated pricing. It's fairly obvious that Intel know what they're doing. They're tapping into the gaming demographic, and that's fine, because we all know that the PC market as a whole is not growing. It's the PC gamers that are really propping up the market right now. You know, the power users, those who either are rendering, they're doing video editing, they're doing, I don't know, 3D rendering, or maybe running a lot of virtual machines, which not necessarily you're going to be using a 6600K for. Primarily that's going to be aimed at gamers, I'd imagine. But still, you know, those fancy packages, I'm sorry, I just come back from the gym, so low blood sugar. So yeah, basically speaking, I can kind of understand Intel doing what they did with the non-inclusion of a retail heatsink fan, but I really wish they would improve the pricing structure by just simply getting out more processors, and that's really how you can force the retailers to reduce their pricing. I did actually do a bit of checking, and at the moment Amazon and a few other retailers do have like the odd processor here and there in, but sometimes they'll be like, yeah, you've got like to wait X amount of time for it to be in stock, and it's kind of a bit of a mess. And some retailers do actually have queues going on, so obviously those who do have it in stock are basically able to say, hey, you know what, we're going to just charge a price premium. Anywho, hopefully you've enjoyed the video, or maybe not if you're one of those affected by the wait. I guess if you do know some good places you can get Skylake, you can always throw them down in the comments below just to help out other fellow tech enthusiasts. That would be pretty cool. But for now, I'm gonna bid you farewell. So have a good evening, or morning, or afternoon, or middle of the night, or whatever it is when you're watching this, and bye for now.